headquarters.
Good morning, America. More than a foot of snow slamming the East Coast. Ferocious waves flooding cities, trapping drivers, and entire streets of cars stuck in freezing water. A family scooped from the roof of their home. Now a dangerous Arctic blast moving in. Wind chills plunging to 50 below zero. All that snow and water now turning into treacherous ice.
A new storm brewing in the White House over the Russia investigation. Reports President Trump tried to stop Jeff Sessions from recusing himself as special counsel Robert Mueller investigates obstruction of justice. This as fallout grows over that bombshell book. The president calls his former advisor Steve Bannon Sloppy Steve as the book, defiantly released hours ago, climbs to #1 on the bestsellers list. Former Press Secretary Sean Spicer here this morning.
An ABC News exclusive. Former Miss America Gretchen Carlson taking the reins of the organization in crisis, now revealing for the first time how she's going to change it.
I plan to make this organization 100% about empowering women.
What she's saying about the infamous swimsuit competition and who she may allow to compete.
And look at skiers stuck on this lift when it starts swinging dangerously in the wind. Gusts top 75 miles an hour as resort staff race to rescue them.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Hi, that person really wanted to go skiing. Hope that you are safe and warm wherever you are, because millions are waking up to the dangerous cold this Friday morning. Temperatures in the east plummeting after that storm came through. Some could face wind chills of 50 degrees below zero.
And look at the impact right there. Firefighters Newark, New Jersey battling a blaze overnight in this icy cold. There were 80 on the scene. And you just see them covered in ice, working very hard this morning. Let's also look at Long Island here in New York this morning. There are the roads. At least they're clear. They're moving pretty well this morning, but a lot of snow has come down, and there's a lot of concern about black ice this morning.
Yeah, don't go out if you don't have to. But our team is out there. They're spreading out across the storm zone. Let's start with Ginger, who's outside our studio here in Times Square. And Ginger, we're just starting to see the worst of these frigid temps.
Yes, and this is the coldest air for a place like Pittsburgh or Cleveland that they've had since February 2015, so it's been a little while. It's 10, a balmy 10 out here in Times Square. The wind chill 4 below, and I know if you're in South Dakota or Minnesota, you're saying that's no big deal, but watch what happened in Boston yesterday. Frozen, socked in more than 13 inches of snow, and the ocean coming in from the harbor, that fire truck trying to get through. That coastal flooding, the wind was such a huge part of the storm, and now it's the cold. Those are actual air temperatures. 3 in Cincinnati. Wind chill advisories all the way to the deep south, and right there in Boston this morning. Eva Pilgrim, it's 2 degrees for you. Feels like. Eva, how you doing?
Oh, it is bitterly cold out here this morning. Ginger, this car right here, abandoned. It was caught in the flooding here at the Boston Harbor, and you can see it is encased in ice. It is not going anywhere anytime soon. The driver of this car, we actually saw this driver rescued by firefighters yesterday, one of many trapped in those icy flooding waters. Ferocious waves flooded cities, and frozen streets creating chaos in Boston.
Unquestionably the worst. I've seen it down here.
Oh my God, I kept seeing it come closer and closer. It's like, oh no.
It was pounding. It was hitting the seawall and going above the telephone poles.
Homes and businesses flooded by several feet of water, that water then freezing in place, trapping entire streets of cars.
This happened all in a matter of 45 minutes.
Lifeboats deployed in the roads, pulling loads of pedestrians to safety. And just south, a family trapped in their home was rescued by a tractor, climbing into the bucket so they could escape. Plus treacherous driving conditions leaving many without a paddle. One person trying to brave the weather, steering straight into frigid floodwaters, only making a short way before the headlights flicker and the engine goes dead. The driver then forced to get out of the car and walk to dry land. Dozens taken to the hospital, and the bitter bomb's death toll keeps climbing.
We immediately knew it was some sort of toxin that was taking everyone over.
In New Jersey, a teenage girl killed and 3 dozen others hospitalized after an entire building filled with carbon monoxide.
People were laying on the hallway floors. You have to get out now. You can't stay here another minute.
And here in Boston, just to show you how frigid these temperatures are and how encased this car is, you can see this ice going nowhere, the tire completely encased. The wind blowing so hard right now, I'm actually having to brace myself a little against the car to keep from getting knocked over. And that's the major concern here. These sub-zero temperatures, feels like temperatures that we will be experiencing here in the next few days, like making this road turn into ice. Guys.
Brutal. It sure is brutal. Also in Long Island, more than a foot of snow there. Gio Benitez is there.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, you said it, more than a foot of snow here. And I got to tell you, for much of Long Island, this place was just paralyzed by all of this snow. I want to turn to our drone cam right now because I want to show you what's going on here. In other snowstorms, what we've seen is that it sort of warms up after the snow and it starts to melt. Not the case here because we're talking about frigid temperatures. Where I'm standing right now, 11 degrees. With that wind chill, negative 15 degrees. How cold is it? You see that back there? It looks like a bunch of snow. That's actually a lake that's just totally frozen over, George.
And that wind chill is going to get worse.
It is going to get worse, George. In fact, there's a wind chill advisory in effect right now. That's in effect through 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Gio Benitez, thanks very much.
And George, we saw on Eva's report that coastal flooding in Boston. A lot of concern this morning about rivers freezing over in this extreme cold. Coast Guard ice cutters are out there freeing trapped vessels. ABC's Adrian Bankert is on one of them in the Hudson River. Good morning, Adrian.
Woo! Good morning to you too, Robin. Minus 23 wind chill here where we're standing. Look behind me. This looks like the road, but it is the river. This is the Hudson, that expanse of ice coating this body of water. We're here on U.S. Coast Guard cutter Sturgeon Bay. And again, this 140-foot vessel is here to try to break a path in this ice. We're just about to take off here and just see exactly what this crew does on a daily basis. In fact, their trip extended because these temperatures have been so low. They've been out here since Monday, and they're going to be freeing some other tugs and barges along the river that are stuck, that cannot traverse this kind of ice. In fact, a vessel like this one can actually move right through 20 inches of ice without even messing around. They can cut through 3 feet of ice using a ramming technique. Robin, back to you.
Sounds like they've been mighty busy responding to calls, Adrian.
They absolutely have. They absolutely have. And we're going to be actually with them as they try to free up a couple of tugs and barges this morning.
Yeah, we heard that woo, how you started. You stay safe out there. Thank you, Adrian.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go down south now, Robin. Road conditions there getting worse as well as plummeting temperatures turning that snow into ice. Steve Osensami in Savannah, Georgia. And Steve, drivers down there don't have a lot of experience with conditions like this, and sometimes salt doesn't even work.
That's right, George. You know, what happened here last night is that much of this ice melted, and now there are patches of black ice on the road. And then, of course, salt. It doesn't work the colder it gets, the closer it gets to 10 degrees. And down here, people have trouble finding salt because they don't sell it. But luckily, science is to the rescue. Essentially, the important thing to note is that anything that melts in water, dissolves in water, will melt salt. And we actually used a couple things here to try and show you. One of these is coffee grinds. This is baking soda, which wasn't as successful. But our winner with a bullet is common table sugar. This is a sugar that we laid out about an hour ago, and it actually is working. And this is something that anyone who's looking for a bag of salt and can't find one can use. You wash it off when it's done. But much like salt, it has the same limitations. Once it gets cold, closer to 10 degrees, it won't work either.
Never heard
George
of
and Robin.
sugar before. Okay, Steve, thanks very much.
Got to get creative down south. All right, now to that new storm brewing in the White House. Reports that President Trump attempted to stop his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, from recusing himself in the Russia investigation. This as fallout grows from that bombshell book, Fire and Fury. Our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, has the latest on all of this. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hey, Robin, good morning to you. That book hit the stands earlier than expected this morning, actually, but it is that old controversy that's back in the headlines. Overnight, the New York Times reporting President Trump gave firm instructions to the White House's top lawyer to stop his attorney general from recusing himself in the Russia investigation, saying the president believed it was Jeff Sessions' job to protect him. The paper says after the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller, the president erupted at Mr. Sessions for recusing himself. And when Sessions sent his resignation letter the next day, the Times reports the president rejected it. and President Trump's determination to fire former FBI Director James Comey led one White House lawyer to take the extraordinary step of misleading the president about whether he had the authority to remove him. That fallout from the Russia probe featured in the explosive new book Fire and Fury, out today. Despite the president's lawyers demanding author Michael Wolff and his publisher halt publication, instead, they moved up the release date to today, saying in a statement, "We see Fire and Fury as an extraordinary contribution to our national discourse. That is not how the White House sees it."
It's completely tabloid gossip full of false and fraudulent claims.
In the book, former chief strategist Steve Bannon is quoted attacking the president and his children, saying of daughter Ivanka, "People suddenly realize she's dumb as a brick," and calling that now infamous Trump Tower meeting between Donald Jr., Jared Kushner, and a Russian lawyer who they thought had dirt on Hillary Clinton treasonous and unpatriotic. We asked the president about his old friend.
Did Steve Bannon betray you, Mr. President? Any words about Steve Bannon?
I don't know. He called me a great man last night, so, he obviously changed his tune pretty quick. I don't talk to him. That's just a misnomer.
Also facing the threat of a lawsuit from the president's legal team, Bannon is playing nice.
The President of the United States is a great man. I support him day in and day out.
But this morning, the book has the White House facing questions about the president's mental stability. Wolff doesn't name names, but he claims advisors had concerns, writing, "The worry among staffers, Trump's ramblings and his alarming repetitions had significantly increased, and that his ability to stay focused, never great, had notably declined." Press Secretary Sarah Sanders firing back.
It's disgraceful and laughable. If he was unfit, he probably wouldn't be sitting there.
Well, the president feels the same way. He is furious, tweeting overnight, "Take a look. The book is full of lies, misrepresentations, and of the author, he says, look at this guy's past and watch what happens to him and Sloppy Steve." So a new nickname there for Steve Bannon, now hoping to stop these leaks that have plagued this administration from the start. A new rule: aides can no longer bring their personal cell phones here into the West Wing. George.
Thanks, Cecilia. We're here now with President Trump's first press secretary, Sean Spicer. Thanks for coming in.
You bet.
This morning,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. We saw the president's tweet right there. He said he authorized no access to Michael Wolff. But Michael Wolff did have pretty wide access to the West Wing, didn't he?
Well, I think there's a question about what the president authorized and whether or not Michael Wolff set up individual meetings with staffers.
You met with him.
I did meet with him. Of course, I met with several authors, as you know, someone who's been in the White House before. When people contact you, I'd never met Michael Wolff. He had contacted me and said that he was writing a book on the president, wanted to introduce himself to me and request an interview with the president. So I afforded him that courtesy. I spoke to him several times about questions that he had. But it's pretty clear, from what I understand, that he met with Steve Bannon on multiple occasions.
And others in the West Wing.
As far as I know, as far as I'm aware, yeah. But those are individual meetings that were set up with those staffers. Steve is the only one that I'm aware of right now that's actually admitted to meeting with him.
He says quite a bit about you in the book. Yeah. Says your personal mantra at the time was, "You can't make this blank up," something I can't say on morning television. Is that true?
Well, he had asked me, I think, a question about whether or not some of these instances were said, and I said, you can't make this up. But again, I think one of the problems that we're seeing with this book, and it's not just Trump staffers and White House officials pushing back, but you're seeing a lot of mainstream media members as well calling into question the sourcing, the sloppiness of how he attributes stuff. Even the author's note at the beginning of the book notes that in many cases he took anecdotes and sort of rephrased them. The sourcing, as with...
But basically, is the story that he writes a story that you think is basically true?
No, I think there's some anecdotes that may be true, but there's also the problem I have, George, is that with this book, as with many stories, is that if it's 10% or 20% or 50% or 70% that isn't true, the reader's not left to know which is true and which is not.
But the stuff he wrote about you is true.
No, well, some of the quotes that he has, but in the context in which they're given aren't. And I think that's the problem, is that I can say something to you right now, and you could weave it into a story in 3 weeks. And is the quote accurate? Sure. Is the context in which I'm giving it in accurate? No.
You were one of those sources. I guess my big question now is it smart for the president to try to stop publication of this book? Doesn't that run against the First Amendment?
I think there's a difference between defamation and reporting, and I think in some of these cases where you're making wild accusations about the president and his family, he absolutely has a right to defend himself. factor.
A lot of focus also on the possibility of obstruction of justice. We learned from the New York Times again this morning that Special Counsel Robert Mueller is investigating that in the White House. And
I don't think that's any. I mean, I think that's been previously reported that that was being looked at. So that's not some kind of shocker.
Well, not shocker, but there were some new details here where we see the president asking his counsel to try to stop Jeff Sessions from resigning, from recusing himself from the Russia investigation. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't at the time, but I think it's no secret. The president's made it very clear that he didn't want, he didn't feel as though Attorney General Sessions needed to recuse himself from this matter, and that he wanted a robust defense of something that he doesn't think that he's been wrongly accused of.
Did he really say, according to the New York Times, "Where's my Roy Cohn"? Were you aware of that?
I don't know what he said. That's the New York Times, according to anonymous sources, not that I'm aware of.
What you do know, you know a fair amount about the firing of James Comey. You had to go out the night that happened. You laid it all on the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, at that time. That turned out not to be true.
I went with the information I had at the time.
Who gave you that information?
Well, I think the counsel's office laid it out very clear how the process had worked. That the authority to fire Rod Rosenstein, or excuse me, the FBI director, laid solely with the Deputy Attorney General. As far as organizationally how that worked out, that there was a letter that the Deputy Attorney General had written to the president, or to the Attorney General, laying out the case for the firing of Jim Comey as FBI director. The Attorney General concurred and brought that to the president. That was the information that I was given, and that was the information that I presented.
We now know that for several days, at least, the president had been talking about firing James Comey. He had talked to Reince Priebus, your direct boss, about that as well. You weren't aware of that at all?
No.
This article says that Reince Priebus turned over notebooks to the special counsel. It's also been reported by Axios that you had several notebooks as well from your time in the RNC and the White House. Did you turn those over to the special counsel?
All I'll say is that as a press person, it shouldn't come as any surprise that you write down, you know, this reporter called, this is the time that they called, these are the questions they had, and sometimes the response that you're going to give. Beyond that, I'm not going to comment on the special counsel or anything that's going on with respect to that.
The book also gets into that episode in July when you were still at the White House where the president was working on a false statement about Don Jr.'s meeting at Trump Tower. And it talks about you being out of the loop on that and you being happy to be out of the loop. So you knew nothing about that false statement when it was written?
Correct. And again, all I'll say is that I'm not even going to get into the merits of the statement or not. I'll just say that I was not aware of the drafting of that statement.
It says that Mark Corallo, the president's spokesperson, his personal spokesperson with his lawyers, resigned at that time because he was concerned it could be seen as obstruction of justice. Are you confident that the president did nothing wrong?
As far as what aspect? As far as the campaign and the collusion, absolutely. I was there for most of the end part of the campaign. I know that didn't happen. You know, there were several folks in the media that didn't give us credit for colluding with ourselves, never mind with any kind of foreign government. So to suggest that happened, and the underlying premise of this whole thing, I think, is pretty clear that there was no collusion.
But you're not confident the president did nothing wrong with respect to his actions in the White House, the firing of James Comey, the putting out of this.
Well, I think as far as the firing of James Comey, it's been pretty clear that the president has the authority to fire anyone within the federal government that he sees fit isn't doing the duty that is appropriate for that job. So I don't think that there's any question about his ability to fire Jim Comey or anyone else in the federal government.
But do you think he did anything wrong?
I don't. But again, it's not my job. There's an investigation. I'm not going to get in the way of it. But as far as I know and from what I saw, no, there was nothing that was ever done that I think was inappropriate or illegal.
Sean Spicer, thanks for coming in this morning. Let's go back to Ginger.
George, even colder wind chills tomorrow morning. And yes, on this map, you'll see it. Philadelphia beating out Bismarck. Let's get to those weekend getaways now. Brought to you by Bounce.
Harry's meeting clients from far away, but they only see his wrinkles. He's gotta play it cool to seal the deal. Better find a way to smooth things over. If only Harry used some bounce to dry. Yeah, he would be less wrinkly and winning at life.
Our coldest air in 3 years over us today and tomorrow. We've got temperatures single digits to teens. That's it for highs today, and it's going to be gusty. Get up to 19. It will feel like we're sub-zero early this morning. Wind chill advisory until noon. Single digits, those wind chill values, and what it will feel like this afternoon, and then we'll drop again during the overnight period. Now, this weekend, we'll ease out of the cold on Sunday, the high 25, above 40 degrees all of next week, but could have a little bit of freezing rain late Monday.
Coming up, we have that ABC News exclusive. Former Miss America Gretchen Carlson now taking over the organization. The changes that could come to the competition and who competes in Miss America. Come on back.
I accept. I don't bike as far